Bad pig. Bad pig. Oh my god, that just zoomed by itself.
Not that I care, but where is your husband?
Why, he's dead.
I'll bet he's just using that as an excuse.
Hello lovely people, how are you today? Today I will be doing a tag, the 20th century tag. This tag was made by the brilliant words of a reader and I was tagged by the fantastic Candy Something. The premise of the tag is that you go to your bookshelf and pick out one book for every decade of the 20th century. I have done that, and this is what I have. For the 1900s, I had one book in all of my possession. One book. That's ridiculous. I haven't even read it, so that's a bit crap. It is The Wind and the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. It's one of these awful, one of these green penguin classics that I hate that cost like £2. Oh. For the 1910s, I have one of my favourite short stories ever written. The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. It is a story of Gregor Samsa, a travelling salesman who one day decides to come home, go to bed, and wakes up and he's a giant cockroach and everyone wants to kill him. Oh, it's such a happy story. It's only about 50 pages long. This edition has a couple of others. It has, you know, In Penal Colony and whatnot. I love the Penguin editions of Kafka's works. They all have the weirdest covers ever. They just don't make any sense, but you know, they kind of reflect what Kafka is. Weird, nonchalant, and, you know, Kafka's writing is quite Kafkaesque. Most people in this tag for the 1920s just tend to do The Great Gatsby, but you know, I don't really like following the crowd. So, I have Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I started this as well and didn't finish it because I seem to have some sort of must start the book and never finish it. I have so many unfinished books, it's ridiculous. I only bought this book because I don't know if any of you have seen the amazingly brilliant film The Hours, in which Nicole Kidman and a nose play Virginia Woolf, and it's just, oh, such an amazing film. But yeah, I really wanted to see what the story behind, you know, the film was, and, you know, so I decided to buy Mrs. Dalloway and start it, and not finish it. I think I may need to finish this as well sometime. I'll put this on the pile of finish before September. For the 1930s, I have another unfinished book. This is becoming such a running trend. He's one of my favourite authors of all time, so The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, probably his most famous work beside Of Mice and Men and East of Eden. It's the story of poor people, very poor people, during the Dust Bowl times of the Salinas Valley in California and whatnot. And they're just, you know, walking around and being all poor and whatnot. I need to finish this. I'll put this as well into the pile of finish before September. I'm not going to finish any of these before September. For the 1940s, I have 1984 by George Orwell, which I got halfways into. Is there a bookmark on this? No. I got halfways into it, and I didn't finish it. Who'd have thought? Fun fact, it's 1984 because Orwell wrote it in 1948 and he just switched the two numbers. I mean, if he'd written this a year later, it would have been 1994, which doesn't sound as good. Yeah, I need to put this in my pile of to be read before September. This pile is going to be huge. Yeah, 1984. I haven't read Animal Farm either. Why did I say that? The 50s! I had so much choice in this category, it's ridiculous. For the 50s I decided, you know, I was gonna go at Catcher in the Rye because that's one of my favourite novels, but I was like, no, I need to have some drama in here, and I need to put my favourite play of all time. Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. It is the story of two men, Estragon and Vladimir, waiting for Godot, and then a man and his servant comes along named Pot So Unlucky, and they talk for a while, and there's a boy who comes at the end of every day saying, Godot will come tomorrow, and that's it. It's a play in which nothing happens twice. It's brilliant. On to the 1960s, we have one of my favourite books. To be honest, I love this book so much. Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. Billy Pilgrim becomes unstuck in time. It's very hard to explain this book, really. He randomly goes to different points in time, but you don't know when it's going to happen, and they just randomly happen for no reason, and it's not complicated at all. It's just Vonnegut writes it in such a way that it's just effortless, and it's like it's set against the backdrop of the bombing of Dresden in World War II. World War II and magical science fiction time travel. I mean, oh my god, it's so good! For the 1970s, we have Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. I love this novel so much. I mean, why would you ever go on drugs when you can just read this? And just, Thompson's writing, it's like you're being taken away into this magical land of just weird, psychedelic, everything with a soundtrack to Jefferson Airplane in the back of your head. For the 1980s, we have The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett. This is the first in the Discworld series, which now has, I think, over 40 books in it. Just really fun little kind of fantasy novel series, and you know, it's Terry Pratchett. Everyone loves Terry Pratchett. I mean, even Terry Pratchett loves Terry Pratchett. I have others of his that I really need to continue with this series because I just love this so much. And you know what's the best thing about Terry Pratchett? He doesn't write chapters. Oh, it's brilliant. It's just a continuous story all the way through. I always find if I have a book with chapters, I'm always stopping and just taking breaks and stuff. But when I don't have chapters, I just read the book all the way through, and I love that. Oh. And lastly, for the 1990s, I decided I'd go with a graphic novel comic book thing. Ghost World by Daniel Clowes. Oh, Enid and Rebecca are just so me. It's ridiculous. Look at them. Look at them. It's a graphic novel, really. It's not a comic book. It's green, as you can see, which is a really fun colour palette. I just love that. It's just so weird. Don't you dare watch the film, though. What did they do with that film? The film was written by Daniel Clowes, who wrote the original, but yet he changed it completely. Why would someone do that to their own work? And just like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you make a film of such a brilliant, brilliant graphic novel about the most angsty and just teenagers of all time, and then change it? Steve Buscemi? I'm not going to be able to lift this. Oh, there it is. It's the 20th century in books. Yay! So I'm not going to tag anyone specifically for this. This is kind of like an open invite. If you want to do the tag, do it. Because it's so fun. I had so much fun just looking through my bookshelves and then being appalled because I had one book from the 1900s decade and I was like, oh, shit cakes. And, you know, until next time, lovely people, bye. Shit!